All right, we have a great guest and podcast for you today. We're going to be breaking down the wing tee with legendary Coach Ed Sadloch. Um, he's had incredible success at every place he's been. Most famously, at least to me, Cedar Grove. All those years there at Cedar Grove, where he's had multiple state champions, multiple. Well, definitely one of the biggest pros people would know. And I'll let him talk about that. That's still playing in the league right now. Played for him, Njoku. So who's a receiver for him? I think he's a tight end, in the pros.
Freak of nature.
Yep. And so we'll let him.
Greek god.
Yes. Well, we'll let him talk about the first. He's going to break down for us kind of the evolution of the wing tee and really kind of give us an understanding of how it's evolved with him over the years. And then we're going to go right into clips and really understand the different clips. I'm frozen here, so I'll let. I already am frozen, but I'll let Coach start with the kind of the evolution of the wing tee. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Dave. My second time on here, so I must have did all right the first time. Thanks again for having me back. Listen, when I first started coaching, probably some of the guys listening here weren't even born. But I started my career in Garfield in 1973 as an assistant coach. We learned the wing tee from John Bauer. I was an assistant on the Garfield staff. We went all the way up to Randolph, New Jersey. We learned it there. We started that in Garfield. I became the offensive coordinator at Ramapo after that. A couple of years later, we put it in there, Ramapo College. We won a club national championship with that. And then I got my first head coaching job in high school at Parsippany. And basically, we were two tight ends, wing right, wing left, maybe slot right, slot left, always two backs, never single back and things like that. And as we moved on, and I was fortunate enough to coach at the Delaware camp for over 11 years with such great people like Tubby Raymond and Ted Kemsky and Greg Perry and Ron Rogerson before he moved on to being a head coach of Princeton. And a lot of guys contributed to my philosophy as far as how to run the wing tee. Fast forward to probably about 1999, 98. I was already at Cedar Grove. We've had some success. We were doing basically the same stuff, sprint out, play action, and things like that. And then what happened was we didn't go to Delaware anymore. I think Tubby was getting close to retirement. And to be honest with you, Cedar Grove wouldn't give us a bus to go down, so we couldn't get down to the camp. And we wound up going to Montclair State. And I grabbed a hold of Charlie Kokoza, who was the offensive coordinator at Montclair State. And I asked him, Charlie, I got a kid coming up that I think, is going to be a very good quarterback. And I don't want to waste his talents by not throwing the ball. So Charlie gave us about 5 or 6 pass routes. He didn't tell me how to block. I had to figure that out myself. I had to talk to Ricky Giancola and stuff like that. But what happened is we started to transition into a little bit more of a shotgun or a hybrid type wing tee. We were all the way through my coaching career from like 1999 on. We were both under center and in shotgun. And basically what we did, we incorporated the whole Delaware playbook, but every year we didn't run the same thing because it was based on personnel. I mean, if I had a great fullback, we're running all the fullback plays and those series. If I had better halfbacks, we would run, sweeps and things like that a little bit more prevalently and less traps and less bellies. But again, it was just how we sat down. And I had a very good coaching staff. I had one of the greatest coaching staffs. We still meet once a year. We go out for a steak dinner, and discuss all the stuff that we did. Former captains of mine who came back after playing college football and guys who were on my staff for 18, 19 years when we first started out, who coached those guys. So we had some great things going on at Cedar Grove over that 25-year period. So basically, what we're going to talk about today is the belly series. You want me to talk about Njuku?
No, it's up to you. I mean,
Okay,
sure.
I'll briefly mention it. In 2011, David was a sophomore for us, and Joey Slattery was our quarterback, another very good quarterback that we had.
Yep.
And David was a wide receiver. I thought I said he was about 6'4", 210, and he was very athletic. He was an all groups meet of champions, high jumper at 7 feet, and he jumped off his wrong foot. It was one of those crazy freaks of natures that we had. And we were blessed. I had Sinisi, who was a great back, but David had the size. David had the size, and the other David didn't. And so, he was fortunate to go to Miami. And he called me when he was going to come out early because he said, I'm projected a first-round draft choice. And I said, get out of here. Because the kid, his other wide receiver, Paul Rufo, who's now a lawyer, was, to my estimation, a better receiver than David was. But he was only like, he was 5'8" Italian. So it was like, it was David was just a physical specimen. But David now is like 250 or something like that. He's been playing tight end for the Cleveland Browns. He's on his second contract. And he's doing quite well, and I just laugh at some of the guys who sit there and say, well, if you run the wing T, you're hindering people's development. You guys know as well as I do, college coaches are going to find athletes. They're not worried about what offense they run in high school. They're going to teach them the offense they run once they get there. And it's as simple as that. But, again, I'm fortunate to have, we were very fortunate to have David. I was very fortunate to have a great coaching staff. So let's get started. Let's get started with an 80 series, which we found very beneficial late in Cedar Grove and basically all of Cedar Grove, but more so in Bloomfield, which is more of the recent films. Okay, the first one is, go ahead, is going to be a 187 cross block. Okay, now what the original cross block, the motion man, the wing back would go in motion prior to handing off the ball. Could you run that back, Coach?
Yep.
Or no? Okay, over here.
Tell me when you want me to freeze, Coach, if you want me to freeze.
Stop right there. That right wing would go in motion, and he'd be there basically to block the flank on the left side so that the quarterback could bootleg out. Okay, that's the original way it was taught in Delaware. Freeze it, Coach. Okay, now what we're doing here is we're going to run the belly sweep action after the belly play, which we'll show you later on. Okay, now the cross block, what we tell our offensive linemen, okay, backside, center guard, tackle, tight end is all reach area of field, and the tight end eventually should be running to cutoff. Okay, the wide receiver will block the number one defender on the outside here, and the dive back will lead for the fullback. It's basically an isolation play. But going back to the offensive lineman at the point of attack, if there is a man outside of the guard and outside of the tackle, they will cross block it. If they are head up, okay, they will on block it. If the man on the guard moves to the inside A gap, they will on block it. So basically what they do, and I kind of like give them a little bit of responsibility on making the calls. So they will yell out whatever their call is for cross block or whatever their call is for on. I've had guys, call out their girlfriends' names and things like that. But basically they get the job done. You're going to see a cross block here. Now, back here, the left halfback, his instruction is, here's the deal, buddy. That linebacker is going to meet you in a hole because he's going to see full flow. All right? You have to be prepared as you take your first step, which is at a slight angle to the outside. You have to be prepared to meet this guy in the hole. He's not going to be at 5 yards where a normal diagram would show him. Okay, the fullback will take a flat step and then follow that halfback through the hole. Go ahead, coach. Wingback's going to fake belly sweep.
And what you're trying to do there is with that wing is to draw the outside linebacker out, right? To create more of a gap space when you run that belly, right?
Right. Well, we don't want to sit there and run that play because again, we had a lot of success at Bloomfield running this. We don't want to run that play one way with motion and then again with no motion. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to fool anybody. But if we keep looking like we're trying to fake sweep, you're going to see where the one guy goes after our quarterback. But go ahead, run it again. We just want to see what it's going to look like at the flank. If our fullback, when we get the belly sweep, if our fullback and halfback fake well enough, I'll explain that later on. It becomes a big outside play for us.
Got it.
Okay, you can go to the next one.
Did you have much difficulty, Coach, when you gave those linemen that ownership, that responsibility for them to kind of head up? It's this, outside, it's this, or is it just really that simple in terms of once you just kind of drill it and continue to drill it, they can recognize and whatnot?
Right. Well, you know what it is? It's basically, I try to give the senior lineman ownership. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, if it's a senior guard, he makes the call. If it's a senior tackle, he makes the call. If they're both seniors, they can alternate the calls. I don't care because, the backside is all reaching anyway. So, they can say anything they want to say back there. You usually have one guy on each side of the line making a call, whether it's a dummy call or a real call. Do they do it all the time? No, and again, maybe that's our poor coaching, but that's how we usually operate that. Now here's the other way, going the other way. This is 83 cross block, but instead of running belly sweep motion, we're going to run jet motion across, okay? And make it look like we might run jet sweep, or we don't know what that we're going to run. We're showing different looks. And go ahead, coach, you can run it. And it's cross block here too. Okay, kid didn't pick up his feet enough, but that's I think that was against Hackensack. We're a little slow. Our offensive line isn't coming off the ball as much as I'd like it to come off. It's almost like we're going to stand up first and then step. You got to step and then stand up. You know what I'm saying? When you're taking that reach step on the backside, it's step flat, crossover, stay low, keep your hips low, and go from there. Okay, coach, you can go on to the next one. Now we can run this play from two backs. We can run it from one back. Okay, the difference in one back, there's another wing dive back situation. Go ahead, run it. This is going to be an 87. Pardon my coughing. Fake the belly sweep. Now, our guard got a nice cross block on that.
Now, Coach, when you're teaching that cross block with those guys, are you drop stepping? What are you teaching them in terms of footwork?
We've tried both, okay, and we'll make a decision based on the player. But basically, what we're trying to say to the guard is the tackle is going first. You want to be as close to the tackle's rear end when you step as you possibly can be. Now, here's the Cedar Grove film. This is us in an unbalanced formation. I think this is 0 left. We have 4 guys over here and 2 guys over there. Now, if he wants, freeze it, coach, if he wants, he can call cross block either way. Or he can block it on here. It doesn't make a difference. Okay? He could come to the line of scrimmage and find out where, this is against Weequahic, I think, and find out where the bubble is and run to the bubble. Go ahead, coach. He's gonna run to the big unbalanced situation.
Yeah, unbalanced gives you another person right at that.
Yeah, Yeah. It's center guard, tackle, tight end.
And Coach, when you say run to the bubble, some guys might not understand that. What do you mean by that?
Just the area where there's a gap, there's a big hole. Okay.
Got it.
Go ahead, Coach. Wasn't a great fake. Nice surge, though. Nice surge by Cedar Grove, though.
Phenomenal surge.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, the idea of firing off the ball really is kind of like the entire whole point of this, right? Like you want to reestablish that line of scrimmage upfield. So to stay low, fire out, get where you need to go to kind of push that whole thing forward really is the key. Because now, you reestablish that line and go downfield. Now that guard makes it a lot easier for him to kind of come down, come right off that guy's back and go.
Right. Is this still belly, Coach?
This is 983.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Okay, just go back again. Okay. We got a nice block in this area here too, I just noticed.
Yeah, great. Right there.
Tackle lost him late, but he was already through the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is not reinventing the wheel. This is, if you're in an I formation, this is tailback carrying the ball. That's basically what it is. It's an isolation play. So just that Delaware gives it a little more, window dressing with the motion and stuff like that.
See if there's any, and then I have the 80. I have your 88s, 89s.
Do the 82, 88 downs. Do the downs. Because that'll be consistent with this stuff too.
Yep.
Okay. This is what,
82.
Okay, now this is 82 down. Now we're in a blue formation. Okay, our tight end is here. I think we're going to trade him, go unbalanced here, and run down to the unbalanced. Maybe not. Okay. So that was run to 82 down. Now, again, backside is the same as we do on 83, 87 cross block. It's reach area of field. Delaware did that in the 70s and the 80s, and we never changed it. Okay? On the front side, it's tackle is gap down backer, tight end is gap down backer, wing is gap down backer, and the front side guard pulls and kicks out the last defender on the line of scrimmage, on or off the line of scrimmage.
Is this backside, was that tackle?
Yeah, the split. Is that what you're gonna ask? The split?
Yeah, the split. Is that
No, that's a tight end, I think.
tight end that you have split? Okay, because he's on the away from the unbalanced.
I think either that or I can't tell.
Yeah, he must
maybe
be.
that is a tackle and he's just misaligned. For some reason,
Okay,
I don't know why he's out that wide.
Okay.
But that's a tight end. 4 is a tight end.
Yeah, no, that's tight end backside of your unbalanced leg.
Right.
Right. So that, you know what that was? That was tackles over. Run that back. I'm sorry. Let's make sure everybody understands. Yeah, we brought our tackles over. See, there's 2 tackles and a wing. So it's guard, tackle, wing. And the tight end's backside. He flexed because early in preseason I told him take a 3-foot split. And he's done that. But down again, you run down behind jet motion. You could run down. You could run belly sweep with that too. Belly sweep, look behind that. You could run it no motion. See, he fake jet, 3 fake jet.
Yep. Big jet draws them out as well. Let me pull up the 88.
Yeah, well, especially against a team like East Orange, right? Having flying around.
Right. See, a lot of times too, you might see, I might have given you some clips here too. This is Cedar Grove.
Blue 88.
This is 2012.
This is Blue 88 down.
Blue 88 down. Okay, so we've got up to the top of the screen a guard, a tackle, a tight end, and a wing. So it's not unbalanced. Run away. We're running away. Oh no, so it's 88? Yeah, we're running away. It just happened to work out.
Oh, nice face. Boom.
That must have been something we saw on film because we usually leave the wing back to block down. We sent him away on that. Okay, that must have been something that we saw. Pompton
right, like they're chasing over the top or they're over pursuing, maybe, right?
Right. This kid's 61. No, was it 61 or 60? I'm trying to find 60. 60 was wound up playing at Montclair State as a defensive tackle. He was pretty good. Yeah, this was just a little game time thing that we put in.
Yeah.
61 was the guard. Yeah, he was a big kid. He was like 215, 220.
When you have them come off the ball, are they based off their responsibilities right from the get? Are they flying off the ball full speed in the direction that they have to go?
Okay, any down block is a flat step for us.
Okay,
you can always adjust your path on the second step.
Got it.
Okay, so basically what we're doing is when we align, okay, what we try to do legally, and I'm smiling at this, is we try to take our guards and put their hands on the center's heel. Okay? The tackles will put their hands on the guard's hands. We don't want to do it the same thing with the tackles as we do with the guards because maybe a tackle is a little bigger and all of a sudden we'll start looking like a V. So basically, if they put their hands that way and the tight end does the same thing like the tackle, that they're going to be flat across, but you're going to have a gap. You can see that right here. There's a space between the defensive line and the offensive line. And if you see that, they're hugging the line of scrimmage. We're just off the line of scrimmage. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of a cushion to take that down step or that reach step and see what that defender is doing as we're going into our second step.
Right. So if they look at the top, if they look at the top where your center is, and then where the rest of the offensive line is, you could see the ability to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave, but the thing is, they're straight line. It's not It's not a wing thing. It doesn't look like an airplane wing, and basically that's how we taught it.
And
I guess we taught it pretty good because we wouldn't have gotten this far if we didn't teach it pretty good. So.
Right, and does that allow them to all move in sync, right? By having them all.
Yes, without somebody like taking first step into them. That defender usually has to take 2 steps before they make contact with these guys.
It's almost like a choreographed dance, how we
call them the dancing bears. We call our offensive line the dancing bears.
It's like synchronized swimming.
Yeah. Except all these guys would sink.
They definitely would sink. Although maybe they would float, Coach. Maybe they would float.
Maybe
a little extra. Yeah.
I've seen them eat. I don't know if they would float.
All right, let me get you up another 88 here. Hold on.
Okay.
Blue. This is 88 down.
Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, now we are, we're normal. This is 988 down.
That's a big guy right there.
I was just going to say, that's a big dude moving like that.
Yeah, it took a while for him to get moving. That's why we had to make the holes a little bit bigger. But he should have been playing tackle for us. But anyway, go back. I want to point out something on the guard.
Yep.
This kid came so far off field. He might have just turned up if he had to. Okay. Watch how far he makes the hit contact. Because he's running for the inside leg of the tight end, the fullback on down. He should have squared his shoulders a little bit sooner, the fullback. Like I said, none of these plays are perfect. I could harass any one of these guys every play.
I mean, it's just crazy how they're aligned to you and the gap they're creating.
Well, I don't understand what the heck they're doing here defensively.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's like,
so
steal.
Who is this you're playing here?
This I don't know who I can't. I think it was a Jersey City team we were playing.
Okay.
Schneider, maybe.
Maybe Schneider. Maybe Schneider. I guess they thought we only run to our right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. That's 88.
No, definitely not Schneider. They're black and orange. So
I think that's all the 88s I have. I have a bunch of 89. I have a lot of 89, obviously.
Go ahead.
You want me to go 89?
Okay, let's go sweep. Let's go to sweep.
This is
okay. Or
0 right 89. Sweet.
Okay, so we're gonna run away from the unbalanced, I believe, unless I mislabeled it. Oh, it's a pass. It's an 89.
Sweet pass.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I see it now. It's 089 keep because I couldn't see it on the computer. Okay.
Okay, we run keep pass maybe twice a season.
That's what I was just gonna say. This is talk about breaking a tendency here.
Yeah. I mean, we come out in unbalanced full house. Everybody's looking for for a run heavy stuff,
right?
And that's our backside tight end, I think.
And that's
one catch on the season, 1 touchdown. What a great stat line!
You laugh. In 1992, I believe, I had a wide receiver by the name of Chris Segalis. I think he works for Secret Service now. I think he was on the President's detail going back a few years ago. And he played the whole season, didn't catch a ball. We get into the playoffs. He catches a 75-yard touchdown pass. We only threw to him one time all year. Made his career. When I was at Bailey Eller, we never threw to the wide receivers. I mean, I just had a reunion with some of those guys, and they were.
There's a throwback school right there.
Yeah. They said to me, Coach, I led the team in receptions. I had 3 catches. That was the old days. That was the old days. Yeah.
Right,
is this Belly Street now?
This is Pistol Red 89 sweep.
Right. Okay. So now, before we get started, freeze it, Coach. What I started to do my last year, I did some more research. I talked to a guy in North Carolina who does it and stuff like that. A guy by the name of Hensel Phipps. I think if anybody's interested, look him up on the internet. He's a real good source if you want to run some stuff with pistol. Now, the thing I like about pistol is with the fullback directly behind the center and not side saddle quarterback and not side saddle in shotgun, is I can run every wing T formation. Okay, I can run 100, 900. I can run wing right, 2 backs. And basically the alignment for that is it doesn't change up front. The quarterback's heels are at 4, and the fullback, he's a little deeper here. I think we moved him back a little bit. He should be at 5. Okay. If the halfback was in 100, he would be even with the heels of the quarterback. Okay. Now, the thing you lose in pistol is the reverse pivot and the deception. If you're going to run cross block, he's opening up. If you're going to run, if you're going to run buck sweep, he turns a little bit to the halfback and gives him the ball. But I thought pistol was something, if I was a little bit younger, I probably would have gotten into it a little bit more the last couple of years before I retired. But I think it's got its merits, and that along with the side saddle. But okay, so here we are. We're going to run. What did you say, Coach? In 89, right?
Right, 89.
Okay, now this guy. Here's his rule. If we're in one back, if it's cross block, if these guys, this guy's going to pull. It's a sweep, so he's going to block down. So he's going to go outside and try to get this linebacker. Okay. If we ran gun pistol belly cross block 83, 87, if it was on, he'd go inside. Okay, so now what we're going to get is we're going to get a down, a hook, and we should be getting that linebacker. The fullback's going to come here. Now, here's the deal. Belly sweep, and hopefully we have it in two backs. Belly sweep, you got the lead back having that linebacker step up. If you're following me, okay? If we're in two back sets, he steps up, we take care of him with the blocking back, with the dive back. The fullback now will take his belly steps, but he will wind back. That's going to freeze the backside linebacker. He's going to think the kid's cutting back. That's why it's necessary the kid gives a good fake. If he does that, second level is gone. Okay? Guard hooks, backside guard comes out here in the secondary, and he's got a guard leading that wing back for a play. All right, Coach, let's see if we can run it. And if I'm going too fast, I'll re-explain it. Here we go. No linebackers near him. No linebackers making a play. That's a lousy fake. For the fullback. One more time. Watch how fast the backside guard gets out there.
Yeah, they're out there quick.
Misses his block, but just enough to get the kid going.
Let me pull up. Let's see. We got 89, pistol 89. And I got another pistol. This is pistol 189.
Okay, here's your dive backs. Okay, run it back, Coach. Now we got a dive back and a fullback and pistol. Okay, he's going to run into the hole. The linebacker should step up. This fullback should wind it back a little bit. The wingback's going to get it out here. Let's see what happens.
Now, did you change the wing's alignment to just get a better angle on the outside? Like, so the front side wing, not the.
He's a dive back now.
Okay.
Okay. If he was a wing, he would be outside that
right.
tackle.
Got it. Okay, you have him as the lead. Yeah.
Right. One more time, Coach. Now, what I don't like back here is what I try to teach our offensive linemen, and I'm the line coach, so I'm mad at myself. What I'd like to teach them is once they make contact, they got to get their hips up the field and keep their legs moving. Okay? Because if you don't put your body between the defender, he's going to slide off you. Just like if you're blocked down, if you don't get your head down there, he's going to blow the gap. Okay? So again, what we try to do, and again, this wasn't a great play. We just executed our backfield executed a little bit better, but our offensive lineman on the backside could have done a better job.
How wide open that is. Oh my goodness. Because that belly action with the lead, it keeps everybody frozen inside.
It looks like they're playing a bear front, so it looks like the centers and both guards are covered. Okay? But no linebacker, no linebackers making any play out here.
Now, Coach, was there a particular front that you like when you saw it on film, and when you're like, oh, they play this, you got like, you kind of lit up like, oh, okay, this is geared more towards playing against this type of defense?
Well, yeah, we always went into a game with an idea of what series we thought worked best. Okay. And again, those of the guys who were listening and weren't familiar with the Delaware, it's basically a philosophy of offense. It's series football. Our teen series was our jet series. We would run plays behind that, under center and in shotgun. Our 20 series was buck sweep, trap, and waggle. Our 30 series was power and counter crisscross. Our 80 series, as far as the run game goes, was belly cross block down and belly sweep and counter, tackle trap. Okay. And we would go into a game based on, okay, this is what we're going to try to run. Okay. And again, the emphasis in practice would be on those series. But because we've taught everything, if I wanted to pull out a buck sweep and we didn't practice it, I wouldn't have any qualms about running it. I may change the formation. I may go unbalanced, and get the corner out of the way and do things like that. But other than that, the kids pretty much get it. But what we used to do, especially at Cedar Grove, when we started our practice sessions back in June, the first thing we would do is put in the shotgun passing game, because we would be involved in 7-on-7s. The linemen we would take, they'd do the weight room. I had a strength coach there. We would do the weight room. They'd come out maybe for 15 minutes and I would talk about a block. But everybody else we were going to practice for our 7-on-7s against coverages and stuff like that. Once the 7-on-7s were over, and we usually try to finish it like within a week after the Rutgers 7-on-7. I didn't want to go too crazy with it. Then we would start implementing our offense. And what we would do is, when we did offense, I would take the kids, and this is learned from experience. Okay. I mean, I've been on staffs where they meet for a half hour with a position group. Okay. My philosophy is no more than 15 minutes. Okay. Attention span of a high school player, no more than 15 minutes. I'm going to bring the offensive line in for 15 minutes, explain on a board what we're going to do and what their rule is. They come in with a notebook. I don't hand out any playbooks. Once I do that, the next 15 minutes, I bring the skilled people in with the wide receivers, quarterbacks, and the backs. We go over backfield action on the board. Then we go out. Before we stretch, we walk through the stuff. Okay, with the first team while everybody else is watching. I'm not gonna. It would take too long to go everywhere, especially with the younger kids. They have to learn on the fly a little bit. Then we would put that stuff in during the practice sessions. By the time we got the team, we had a scripted team of what we were going to run that day. That's how we did it. And I thought that was the best method for us at Cedar Grove to implement our offense. So, okay, here we go. Let's go.
Yeah, by the way, I have always been on the same page of that with the teaching the kids instead of giving them a playbook, because all they do is it a lot of times in high school kids, I feel like it overwhelms them. It's some kids it overwhelms them. Some kids are trying to read ahead, and you want them to learn each thing in the stages that you want them to learn it, right?
Right.
Is that kind of the philosophy you have with it? Is that you want them to learn each thing in the stage you want them to learn it, not jump ahead, not get overwhelmed, that kind of thing?
Right. And what we did is if we weren't satisfied when we came off the field, we would go back to it the next day. I wouldn't add more stuff on. It just didn't make any sense. So basically I told our coaches, when we sat down, what did you think? Hey, we could go on. We can't. All right. Why can't we? Well, this guy, Joe Schmo, couldn't do it. Okay. And Joe Schmo is an integral part of our offense. If Joe Schmo can't do it, we got to get Joe Schmo on page one. Mm-hmm. But the other thing too, with the notebooks, it's funny because some kids will take meticulous notes, and other kids are playing tic-tac-toe. It's one of those deals.
Yep.
And then the kid wonders why he's not playing.
Yep.
It's like, well, let me see your notebook. What's this a picture of? I didn't put that on the board. So that's the ups and downs of high school coaching. But again, like I said, we were fortunate. I was there 25 years, and it was established. The coaching staff was always on the same page. The kids coming up were on the same page. The hardest part was teaching the younger guys. The older guys would help teach the younger guys. And I think that's one of the reasons we were so successful.
No doubt.
Okay, what do we got here?
Sweep, Coach. 189 sweep.
Okay, 189 sweep. Okay, this is under center. Good fake by the quarterback. He's not carrying the ball that good. He gets hammered here. Quarterback gets tackled, so that's a good fake.
And this is just traditional buck sweep, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
No, this is belly
this
sweep.
haunts me.
Belly sweep. Right, the back's in the backfield, right?
This haunts me.
Good
We
job
couldn't stop this my junior year at Butler. We were playing Boonton in the semifinals. This play, we just couldn't. It was unstoppable.
Who was the head coach there?
Mulga?
Okay.
It was before Gallagher.
Oh, okay.
Well, listen, the OC was Sabo.
Okay.
So Morris Hill's guy, he was his wing T.
Yeah, he was a wing T guy. Yeah. Fullback did a lousy job faking.
Yeah.
Again, this kid has a little ups there,
77 gets a little bit here, Coach. That's a nice one out on the edge right there. That's a big boy. Big boy moving better. Yeah, he got some. He jumps out. Now, Coach, are you telling this wide out down here at the bottom? Like, what are his rules? Top of the numbers. Where are you telling him?
What we usually do is if you're in the middle of the field, you split the difference between the tackle and the sideline.
Got it.
Okay. If you're on a hash, you split the difference between the tackle and the sideline. So basically, he's half and half. Depending on what we're running, he can cut his split down or widen it. In other words, if let's say I wanted to go left and bring an unbalanced line here, and I don't want this corner in anywhere near this thing, I have him go maybe a yard or two from the sideline.
Got it.
I tell him to widen out. This way, we're playing 10 on 10. Why should we play 10 on 11? We're playing 10 on 10. And again, he's a wide receiver, so I don't know how well he blocks. It's they want to catch the ball. They don't want to block.
Let's see. Here. We pull up.
What else you got now?
I got 189 sweep number 2.
Okay.
Yep. Same.
Same play. It's the same play.
Yep.
Okay. Got any more?
Let me see. Yeah, I think I might have. Hold on. Let me see if there's anything else. 3, 89. I think that's all of them. Yep.
Okay. I thought we had one more. I'm not sure.
What was the?
Oh, I don't have it with me. So
one more 89. You mean? I pissed away. Down.
Let me see.
189.
Any 981s? No.
981. Let me see if I missed it. Hold on.
Again, I forgot what I sent you.
Yeah, I'm looking. Checking to make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. I think I grabbed everything. Let me see if I missed something. I could have missed something. Yeah, let's see. 3, 7. No, I think I got everything. What was the one you said? 983?
981.
91? No.
No,
Red or
983
blue?
is it.
No, I don't see.
We're looking for 1 and 9. Those are the sweet plays.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't see.
Okay.
90.
All right. So,
I mean, look,
you know,
that's
Phenomenal.
I think one of the things too, Coach, like you said, like even just going back to like when you initially like guys inside, you do this, guys outside, you do that. I think the somewhat simplicity of it, right, really allows you to kind of get into it and then make it work, right? And then they're going to be like, they're going to see those looks like that. And that's the rules. Nothing changes. It kind of is what it is. And then you can just rep it and kind of go with it. And look, we played Jerry Gallagher at Montville every year I was in high school, right? So it was, this is what we're seeing, this is what we're doing. And they were extremely good at it, you know? And it was always like, and especially from the safety position, like if I didn't know where my eyes needed to be, like I was running all over the place. And it took time to kind of develop that. And if you're not a team or have a coaching staff that has the ability to coach and understand what you're seeing to try and stop it, it ain't happening.
Yeah. See, I hear what you're saying, and the thoughts that are bouncing in my mind right now are, I have seen a lot of wing T teams over the years. Okay. And like I started before it's a system. This is what we learned from Coach Raymond and Coach Kempsky and those guys. It's a system. It's a series-based mode of attack. Okay. A lot of guys run the wing T and they just run plays. They don't set anything up. They don't try to formation guys. They just run plays. And that's not the wing T. Now,
right.
Coach Smoling, great coach. I mean, and he does everything well, precise. Jerry Gallagher, great coach. The more I look at Donnie's stuff on film, Donnie's a belly team, a belly sweep team, a power team. Okay, he may not run buck sweep, he may not, but that doesn't mean he's not running wing T. He's running series-based football. These guys are taking, well, I'm going to run trap, but I'll never run sweep. Or, I'm going to run belly, but I'll never run belly sweep or counter. So it doesn't work. We're frustrated. How come? How come it doesn't work? Because you're running plays. You're not running a system. And
I think that's an epidemic. That's an epidemic among young coaches nowadays that just don't know how to call offense or don't understand that whole process. Like you run, and it's just like, look, your average, your parent in the stands, right? Or we got to do this. Why are we running that? You're like, well, I'm running this now because in 3 plays, I'm running this. Or when I get this look, I'm setting this up. There's a process and, a symphony that you're calling your offense that has to be. And I think a lot of the young coaches and people don't understand that I'm running something to set something up, or I'm doing this for that down the future, right? And it's a problem I see with young offensive play callers, right? And those are the guys that you're under 10 seconds when you're calling a play because they don't know already what they're doing, right? I know if I have 2nd and 4, like what I'm doing, or if I have 2nd and 10, like you have those plays in your head already called if you get this or if you get that, like those types of things. I think it's an issue.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's a situation where they don't want to spend the time to study it. Okay. And I'm not blaming, there's a lot of good young coaches out there, but there's a lot of guys who are taking on like coordinator roles that are not ready yet, and it's tough to be put in a situation when you got a head coach screaming at you, what are you calling,
Right.
And, so it's like I always encourage young coaches, Coach, what do I got to do? I said, well, there's a lot of good books. Some you might not get. Some are out of print. Okay, there's a lot of Delaware wing T stuff. Like I've got them here. They're worth a fortune if I wanted to sell.
Oh, God, Coach, you wouldn't have to be sitting here in Jersey. You'd be down, full-time down in Florida, buddy.
I have, but there's some paperbacks you might still get that are written by Raymond and Kempsky that you could do. I was down at Clemson with Don one year at a clinic, and that's when Malzahn was there. And he runs a lot of his spread stuff is wing T based principles and stuff like that. So I walked up. We were having a conversation with him, and I said, "Hey, listen, I got every Delaware clinic note from University of Delaware from 1973 until when Tubby Raymond retired." I said, "Would you like copies of them?" He goes, "Absolutely." I said, "It'll cost you a fortune." It's like I've got
The
volumes.
Bible.
Yeah, I've got volumes. I've got their playbook. It's like, and I study it. And again, I see a lot of guys. Well, offensive line guys always argue with me. Well, we got to scheme this. We got to scheme that. I got a system here. It works. I don't care what you throw up. If you're better than me, you're going to beat me. If you're average, we're going to beat you. If we're the same, we got a shot at beating you. So, and that's basically what it is. That's what it is. It's just, it was something I grabbed onto and I never wanted to change from. We went to a little fancier passing game, and I think that was very important in the development of our offense and us being more successful later from 2000 to 2015. That got us into Giant Stadium. That got us to do things like that. And I really am indebted to Charlie Kokoza for giving us, because we even at Bloomfield, we still ran the same routes.
Yeah.
The only thing different, like if we ran our 60 series, which is like a 3-step drop from shotgun, which was intermediate and long routes, it was 61 or 69, and we tagged it with a college name. Okay, so if we say 61 Carolina, both sides would run Carolina. Okay. But when we got to Bloomfield, I came up with an idea. Okay, well, let's call 61 Carolina backside Texas. So all of a sudden now we're not running Carolinas. We're running Carolina on one side, and we're running smash routes on the other side.
Right.
And it kind of like got the defensive secondary, because they were used to us doing the same thing on both sides. Now all of a sudden it was different. So it's just something that if you're a head coach and you want to run the wing T, you got to research it. If you're an offensive coordinator whose head coach wants to run the wing T, you got to research it. You got to be held accountable. You just can't just say, okay, give me the play sheet, let's go. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I've watched.
I played in this offense. I'm just going to do what we did.
I watched. Over the years, because I've been an analyst for Old Japan for the last few years, and I coached with them too. And I think 2006, I've watched how Dunn evolved the wing T back to shotgun, and then used a lot more. It's still like the buck sweep is his staple, and then he runs power off of it, counter off of it, all from the gun. And it originally evolved when he got Fuller as the quarterback, because he was such a great athlete. Yeah. They didn't want to leave him under center. They brought him, and obviously they wanted him to be able to run the ball as well from quarterback. So they evolved from that. But still to this day, like the buck sweep is his staple, and everything runs off of that. His trap runs off of it, his counter, his power, and then his pass game. I think, much like you're doing, he has his staple of plays. Like his wide receiver screens, his staple of plays. He's evolved his RPO game, but it's still all off of the wing T run game. So it's really, and I think that's what part of what's been so successful, because his brother's the offensive line coach, Pete, and obviously they're together all the time as brothers, and the blocking scheme has not changed. The fronts may change, and how they have to obviously understand what people try to do attacking them on defense, but the scheme hasn't changed, and the series-based stuff hasn't changed. Right. And you can, when you watch their games, you can see that him going through his sequence. Right. And the only thing that looks different from the under center wing T is that he's in gun, and there's there might be an RPO here or there off of it, but it's still off. Like his RPO is off the buck sweep. You know what I mean? So it's still. So that's one of the things I learned, is that leveraging that series style offense and the blocking schemes of the wing T, you to the defense, it looks like, you're running this wide open offense. You know what I mean? But it's really still principled in all the stuff that is run from the wing tee right under center. It's no different. It's just that now it's been gun based. You'll see obviously the QB be able to run off of it and all these different things, but still based and rooted in the wing tee.
Right. Going back a couple of years ago, I think I was just starting at Cedar Grove. I go to scout Dougie Wilkins. Nobody scouts anymore. Why? I don't understand why anybody doesn't live scout. But
it was my favorite.
It was the best.
I'm sitting in the stands in back of somebody with a big mouth. Now here's a guy on the field who's won 300 and so many
games.
Okay. He's a bum. He's not throwing the ball. He should be more wide open. Baba. He wins. What's the bottom line in high school? To make that parents happy, or it's interscholastic athletics. And it's just, I don't know. It's and this is going back maybe 20 years ago. It's same. It hasn't changed. It's got worse.
Oh yeah,
it's brutal. And again, it's a gap scheme offense. I mean, if you're getting angles, and angles are going to help you block. You don't have to be 320 pounds, and try to push a guy. You don't need that in a wing tee. So, it is what it is. We were very happy with it, and our people who come to the clinics listen to the same stuff that we've been preaching for years, and they seem to be pretty happy with it. Our camps are going well. So, we're going to stay with it until people say, we've had enough of you guys, so.
Well, when I watch like Gus Malzahn, he's a wing tee guy, right? And it's just it's out of the gun. He evolved it from when he was in high school. When you watch even Lincoln Riley's run game where he's pulling both guard and tackle, it's still gap down backer. I mean, it's the same. It's just two guys next to each other wrapping around, right? It's because they're not using the tight end as much as you would in a traditional way. But it's the same philosophy. And that's the whole thing. They're just adjusting who's doing what, but it's the same exact philosophy. I mean, and now all you do is when you add your run game for the quarterback, you're just reading when those two guys are pulling around. You're just reading that backside end. That's all you're doing. You're just reading that backside end, so it gives you one less guy you have to block. So I mean, that's what he was doing when he had Kyler Murray at Oklahoma, and so. But it's wing tee. It's still gap down back. That's the exact philosophy of
the biggest thing that we did when we had our Sunday morning staff meetings was I was fortunate. I had an offensive staff and a defensive staff, and my older guys were more on defense, and my younger guys who played for me on offense were get the ones who had to put up with me and get yelled at a lot. But what we try to do is we sit there and say, okay, what are they playing? Next thing was, let's look at the personnel. Okay. Where's their weak link? How are we going to attack their weak link? Running game, passing game. Okay. And then what we would do is we would choose the formations we think we were going to use, to attack it, and then use the plays behind it. Do we start off in a balanced formation, trade the tight end, go unbalanced? Do we shift to from a two-back set to a single back set? How are they going to adjust? When we motion across the formation, what are they going to do? Can we take advantage of that corner who seems to be looking in the backfield all the time? Can we run by him? Can we take a shot? And it's like, as long as the kids believe in you, that's the bottom line. If the kids believe in your coaching staff and what you're selling them, you're going to be successful. And again, Coach DePasquale, you played in the run and shoot, so you had a thing going in Butler. Okay. I'm not going to criticize, what Butler did. They were successful, but when guys sit there on the internet and tell you, well, you run a wing tee and you're doing a disservice to your kids. Sinisi, 2-time All-American at Monmouth. Come on. Njoku playing for the Bronx. Leave me alone. with that stuff. Don't even bother me with that crap.
And
So
look, we just had Wilbur Valdez on from Union City on Friday, right? And he talked about look, the way he's doing it, and he said it very simply. He's like, guys, we're winning games, right? Like if we want to hold the ball and we want to only throw 2 to 3 times a game, we're in a state finals. We just run another sectional title. Like, who am I to now all of us? Like, I'm not doing that. So he was very vocal about let those guys in the stands say what they want as long as we keep winning games. Like at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Right.
Yeah.
And look, another guy, and you're talking about a group 5 power, right? That produces next level athletes, guys going all over. Like you said, it's just is what it is. Guys there's always going to be critics. There's always going to be people, because we would get it at Butler. Oh, why you throw so much? And why you doing it? It's like, well, we just won 4 state championships in a row. Like,
right.
They just, same thing, right? The evolution of it. Like that was the 90s. And then they won another one in 2018. They just won another one this year. Like, yes, some things have changed. Some things have evolved, but everybody has a way of doing it. And like you said, Coach, if the kids buy in and the installation of it and all of those things like go in the right direction, you can be successful doing whatever. Just buy into it and own it and continue to move forward.
I think the biggest thing that helped us is that once we started our run of quarterbacks, we took advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't sit there and say, okay, all you're going to run is waggle, keep, pass, counter, boot. And we're going to sprint your right, sprint your left. When I first started Parsippany, I had a kid by the name of Paradise. He was a 3-sport guy. Good. We made him a quarterback. If he played in the offense we ran in the 90s back in the 70s, Parsippany we would have probably been maybe 2 more games or 3 more games each year. But again, that was that's how as you progress, you learn. And you get wiser with age, I think, and you hire the right people. All my career, I think I only got rid of 2 guys my whole career. If they wanted to leave, they left. If they didn't want to leave, if they went on to other things, that's fine too. But most of the guys that I had were very good coaches, and I have no regrets in keeping those guys on as long as I could. So
phenomenal, dude. This was phenomenal. We'll love to have you on again at any point if you want to cover any of the other stuff you guys run, the other series. It's really first of all, it's educational, but it's foundational too as well, to understand if you want to do certain things in offensively in football, there's certain things that you have to be able to understand. And it made me over the years such a better coach. I remember when I was at Sadloch, I think it was my first year as head coach there. And I think Darren White had always scrimmaged with you guys when I was an assistant, and I was the head coach there. And we scrimmaged you guys. I think maybe Whippany Park, maybe I can't remember, but I remembered the sequence as my first time as head coach, and I was like, whoa, I really have to learn and understand the wing T, because there were things going on from a linebacker standpoint, D-line standpoint, that our guys really didn't understand that well, and that I didn't understand that well. And once I learned it, it helped me so much as a coach, not just from a defensive standpoint, but from an offensive standpoint, blocking scheme wise and those kind of things. It was really, and it's funny because a lot of coaches don't realize it. And in college, you don't learn. I played linebacker in college. That wasn't taught. When we played right. Delaware. I went to UConn. We played Delaware, the Delaware wing T, and I can tell you my defensive coaches did not understand the wing T. Why was Tubby Raven so successful? Because we didn't understand what the wing T was trying to do to us. Really, foundationally, they really didn't, because that wasn't what they faced that much. They probably never faced it other than we played Delaware. So. Mm-hmm. And that made him so successful because guys were running in the wrong direction, literally running in the wrong direction. And there's a lot more information obviously out there now. So it's I think it's a shame that if young coaches don't learn the wing T, because I just know how much it helped my career and I was forced into it because we scrimmaged you, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't understand anything that's going on here. Like, and I'm a head coach, and I didn't understand the wing T, right? And I was going to obviously face some wing T teams, and I really got up to speed as quick as I could and learned as much as I could, and but I think it's important because it's the foundations of football. It's the foundations of football in a way that allows your team to be able to be on the same equal footing with a team that could be bigger, more athletic, more physical than you are, because the foundations of the wing T counteracts that so well with the blocking scheme because of the rules and how quick people come off the ball and the misdirection. I mean, just what you showed now with the fakes and stuff, like, and how you're pointing out, like, that fake wasn't carried out well. Like I said, I see that because when you're teaching linebackers, you're not going to get fooled by the fullback that doesn't carry out the fake well, right? You realize I don't have to even regard him anymore. Okay, I zoom in on my keys, I should be fine because that fullback isn't unless he's carrying the ball. He's not showing me anything, right? And those are the things that it was great that you pointed that out, because those are things that are so important in the wing T, because the fullbacks that carried it out, like I thought, no, I don't think he's coaching anymore, but Greg Grudzis from Waldwick used to run. He was at Waldwick Millen Park for all those years, and
they were wing T, yeah,
they're wing T, and he did such a great job of it. And he was under center wing T, and it was always a battle for us because his kids carried out every fake. He loved the trap series with the wing T, but he carried out every fake. The kids did a great job of it, and he'd always have the one running back that could get to the end zone. So all the other stuff, and then he comes around with either the belly sweep or the buck sweep, and forget it. That kid, like, if you got sucked in at all inside, that kid was gone. So he always put those guys. That's the other thing, putting the guys in the right places. It was an art form of the wing T, like which guy was this halfback, which guy was a fullback. Having the right guys in the right spot for their skill sets was I thought an art form in the wing T. It was an art form because that way every year, no matter which guys came in, you knew which style of person had to be in each position, and you could adapt your offense. You had a better fullback, like you said, one year. Then okay, we're running more stuff with him, right? And we have a better halfback one year, and that guy really can run. We're running more stuff with the sweep, and it was just it really is an art form, that the offense, and I'm glad that you're continuing to push it through.
Yeah, well, when we were all, I was always in mostly small schools, and basically we cross-trained our backs. We had to, just like I would try to find 7 offensive linemen.
Right.
Okay. Somebody maybe first team could play center. Then I could bump a guard in or a tackle in and move a tackle to guard. We always try to get at least 7 because that was probably the most depth we were going to have. We were never going to have 10 offensive linemen, and maybe 2 tight ends and hopefully get through that. But the other thing I wanted to point out, and again, 37 years doing this, is as you're in high school and you're teaching your linebackers how to do things. Okay. Now, just hear me out. The kid is 15 to 17, 18 years old. Maybe an 18-year-old may be a little bit smarter. But if you're telling him to do certain things in the Delaware, key certain things, that all goes out the window on the snap. I'm telling you right now. Key to guards. He's looking for the ball. Okay, he's looking for the ball. I don't care who, if he's a Group 5 or a parochial all-stater. When the ball goes, some of those techniques go out the window.
Right.
The kid is trying to survive on the field. He doesn't want to get yelled at by Coach Sabella or Coach Campanelli when he comes off the field and things like that, and it's just, we played Union City when I was at Peters. I mean,
right.
That playing on the roof was a great experience, but
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, he does a great job there. He does a great job, and
Hoboken guy.
Tough guy from Miami, one of those guys, but good man. I'm trying to get him to speak at the clinic, but he wants to hide everything. What the hell? I know what he does already. I can give him a talk, but yeah, I'll tell you what, it's been great. It's been great, guys. I really enjoy it. Anytime you need me back, if I go over another series, I'm fine.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Coach,
okay,
thanks
buddy.
so much. Have a wonderful day, Coach.
You too, guys. All right, man.
All
Enjoy.
right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Phenomenal.
It's always
stuff.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I love the if we're able to once every couple of weeks get a guy on to teach things, it makes a huge difference. And his clinic is. I hope guys go and check out his clinic because
they had listen. Each year, I think this is the third year they did it. I think it's like the third year, and it's grown every year. They did 2 different sites this year, 2 different weekends. You know what I mean? Like each guy kind of talked about, just clinic stuff. And look,
they're the masters. They're the masters.
It's like if you want to know what to do, like this is where this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Those guys. They go and speak at the national wing T clinics and do all that. You know what I mean? Like they've been in it and literally, learned from ground zero.
One of the things people get caught up on the wing T is the wing T.
Right.
And they don't realize that the blocking scheme and the sequencing of what they're doing and the alignments, like it applies to everything you do. It's the same thing to me as when they started running the triple option, and people evolved to the spread pass game from the spread option offense.
Yep.
And those foundations of football are what gives you the ability to be much more versatile in your offense, even if you're not running the wing T as of your overall offense. Like I said, Dunn, and until he retires, we'll never get a complete breakdown. But he does, and there are other guys. Obviously, Wilbur Valdez is obviously traditional wing T.
But a lot of these guys adapt to their players too, right? Like, look, you talked about Dunn had 2 freak of nature brothers, right? And it was like, dude, I need to do something with these guys, and you adapt, you figure out a way to do it. And then ultimately,
and you realize he kind of gets, now they're not as athletic as the Fuller brothers, but he's getting that kind of quarterback every year.
That's like the kids now, right? Like all these kids are it's just you're dealing with different human beings, dude, right? Like we're evolving as humans. And so athletes are evolving as humans. And then I think what he did, right, adds more of an appeal to, what everybody sees on Sundays or what guys see in college and all those types of things where, like, even Coach talked about, we threw a little bit more, we did a little bit more of this. Like that appeal has to be there in some way, shape, or form, whether it's window dressing or not, like that's just, it also eliminates the argument of, oh, you're holding my kid back because of the offense you run and doing all this other kind of stuff. Like that's all bullshit.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, Brett Favre said it best. His father was his high school coach, and they ran the wing T, and he wanted to throw the ball, and they barely threw the ball. He's like, I'm not going to get recruited. And he's going to be like, if you're good enough, you'll get recruited from the play run. Now, ultimately, he went to Southern Miss. And still was a Division I quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, and is a Hall of Fame quarterback. So if it didn't hold Brett Favre back,
I like it.
And Brett Favre might not have gotten, because he's from Mississippi and
right.
a smaller area, and he wasn't super. It wasn't like he was super tall, He's tall, but he's not like 6'5". So, that's probably where you would end up if a lot of times when they're looking at measurables and stuff is like a Southern Miss, if you're from Mississippi, smaller town area. So there is a lot to it. Now, look, obviously recruiting as a whole
Correct.
has changed radically, and it has zero to do with whether you run the wing tier or not. Just as a whole, the whole thing has changed, and that is the bigger issue, not what system you run. It's just that actual recruiting has changed, and how you get recruited and what gets you recruited and who they're looking for and how they're looking for them has changed so much. It doesn't really have as much to do with your system. It has to do with like how they're
just something people can say and point at and be like, it's not an excuse, but it's a reason, and people always need something to go to, right? Like that's why he's not getting recruited. If it wasn't that, it would be the coach sucks, or it would be, it's too small of a school, or they'll find a reason. Like that's just one of the easy ones to hit on.
There's no doubt about it. But very interesting stuff. All right, let's when are we back? Friday? No.
Friday. Yes, Friday we'll have Coach Ruley from Rowan.
Oh, perfect. That sounds good. All right, till next. What's nice about